Welcome to the Cash Flow Project Podcast. Are you looking to better your financial situation by increasing your cash flow? Too busy to hunt for real estate deals or don't know where to start? Then you're in the right spot. Join us as we dive in and talk about investing for cash flow using multifamily real estate.
Welcome to the Cash Flow Project. I'm your host, Duc with Tri-City Equity Group. With me is my co-host, Vince Gettings. Today we have Collin Schwartz and Chris Pomerleau on the show. Collin is a full-time real estate investor and owner of Bricktown Management, a property management company located in Omaha, Nebraska. Park Ave Capital, with over $46 million in assets under management and liquid lending solutions, is creator of the largest real estate meetup in Nebraska. Chris is an attorney, mediator, and real estate investor and coach in Omaha, Nebraska. He played college and arena football and served in the U.S. Army. He's passionate about helping others and investing in multifamily real estate throughout the Midwest. Collin and Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you.
All right. So how did each of you get started in your journey to earn passive cash flow? We'll start with Collin.
Oh, okay. So I was working a desk job. I was kind of very much a desk jockey in the corporate world, 9 to 5. I was an IT project manager. From the outside looking in, I had kind of made it, had my master's degree, had a steady job, predictable pay increases, ability to keep climbing the corporate ladder until January 1st, 2017. I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and it basically stopped me in my tracks. And I realized that the life I was planning on living at earliest wasn't going to happen until 65 at best, as I was looking at my retirement account and projecting that number out. And okay, that's when I can start enjoying my life. That's when I can start, taking month-long vacations. My kids may be grown up, but hey, that's just what it is. That's what everybody does. After reading that book, I basically decided to burn the ships and devoted as much energy as possible to studying, researching real estate investing. Purchased my first threeplex about 4 months later with another partner of Chris and I, Stephen Sykes. And that kind of got me hooked from there. I started doing the property management for it to have a little bit more control of the assets. And about a year later, in February 2018, I had quit my full-time job to focus on property management, real estate, and growing from there.
Yeah. How about you, Chris?
So I got out of the military in 2013, and I had already had my law degree. I had already passed the bar in 2010. So I segue into, picking up a job or a 9 to 5. You believe it or not, it was actually pretty difficult. I could paint my face and kill people and sleep in the forest, but I didn't have any legal experience. So it took me a while to find a job. I finally found that job, and I got the gold handcuffs almost immediately day one. I got a comfortable amount of living, but a lot of time spent working, so much time. And I had read Rich Dad back in 2008. So there was a 5-year gap there. I just never thought I could find the time. And then it really hit me really hard in 2013. I said, look, this is the rest of my life. I will be an attorney. I will be making good money, and I'll never spend time with my family, and I'll only make money when I work. And that was a huge wake up for me. So, immediately in 2013, I said, look, I need to do something that allows me to choose what I want to do. If I want to continue being an attorney, I'll continue being an attorney. If I want to be an electrician, if I want to mow lawns, or if I just want to sit on my patio, I can do any of those because I have passive income. And that was a really big drive for me because I want to be able to spend time with my family. So 2013, I bought my first single family home. And then 4 years and 4 single family homes later, I said, something's off here. Not really going at the pace I wanted to, swinging the hammer myself, laying the flooring myself, managing everything myself. I learned a lot. I'm super glad that I did it. I spent a lot of quality time with my father, but I was not going to get to that passive lifestyle I wanted. So in 2017 is where we started really getting into the multifamily arena. And that's when I met Colin. And, since then we're actually at 50 million in assets under management and over 750 units just in those 3 years. And I think that our both of us have that drive to allow us to do what we want. It just so happens that we could stop probably doing what we're doing now and sit on that patio, but we're choosing to be active in real estate. But it's nice having that flexibility. Even though I'm a full-time attorney still, it's nice having that flexibility to just do what we want when we want. We're choosing to continue to be an active investor, but it's nice to have that flexibility and freedom. So here we are.
Collin, what made you give up a comfortable salary working in the corporate world for the more entrepreneurial path?
Yeah, so very, very similar to Chris. I had at the time of reading Rich Dad Poor Dad, I had one child, was expecting another one. I currently have 3 children, but I realized that my time was just going to be delegated to just 10 days off a year, a couple sick days and weekends. And most of the weekends I was preparing for the week, catching up on household items. I was never actively being present. And I need to change that, and even more so. And this was kind of something that it was just a combination of multiple things that hit at once. When I got back to my job, they took away some of the unpaid time off. So I was like, okay, now I'm not going to get to take a day off for a year. Cool. Okay. I think I need to focus on something and have control of my own life. Plus, one of my coworkers, he in his 60s, and he had a countdown clock on his desk that sat there, and every day it would go down till his retirement. So he was basically hoping to give up the next 3 years to retire, because that's when he could do what he wanted. And I just sat there being 30 years younger, just like, I don't want to give up my next 33 years to be retired. I want to work hard now and develop a lifestyle that I want. So it just had to happen. The corporate lifestyle is good. I learned a lot of skills. I learned how to manage people. However, just if you want true freedom, you have to work for yourself or work in partnerships and create some sort of passive income. Because otherwise, as Chris was saying, you are always trading time for money. And although money is not the end all be all, we're not looking to, buy Rolls Royces, et cetera, but it gives you time. Money equates to more time.
Speak for yourself.
Bills.
Speak for yourself. I want a Rolls Royce.
Chris already has a Rolls Royce. So never mind. But yeah, it just had to happen.
Got it. So how did you scale to over $50 million now in assets under management in roughly 3 years?
Chris, lack of sleep, being crazy, going after underwriting lots of deals, just being enthused about this every single day. Chris, I'll let you.
I don't know. We just push each other. We're not satisfied ever, really. You get good at a single unit, you get good at a 2 unit, you get good at 9, you get good at 20, and now you want the 80, and now you want the 100. And, you continue to grow, you continue to build really good partnerships, whether it's the great broker relationships that we have, whether it's the now side businesses that we have, like LLS, which is Liquid Lending Solutions. It's a hard money business we're dealing with, starting up a brokerage. We're doing a lot of things, and, we're just kind of hungry for this area. We really like this area. And it just, the friendships and the motivation of surrounding yourself with people who have that entrepreneurial spirit, if you just surround yourself with the right people, it becomes easier to grow. And I certainly lucked out to have Colin as a partner, because he kind of views that same with me. I've had partners along the way. I've owned duplexes with people. I've owned 9 units with people. I've done those type of things, and they were great partners. And they may have been satisfied with the duplex, or they may have been satisfied with that. And that's just fine. That's just fine. It just so happens that, Colin and I want a little more, and our goals are aligned. And I don't know, I think it just helps to surround yourself with people who have the same motivation as you. And that's really helped us grow.
God, I love that constant kind of push and striving for more.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, it's a good partner when you're sending emails or text messages at 3 a.m. and they get back to you right away, because you're up basically trying to solve the same problem. So and supportive wives too, to be okay with that.
Yeah, that's huge. Yeah, we should probably mention that.
Yes,
definitely. So tell us about the most recent deal that you're involved in. How did you find it and structure it?
Chris, do you want to go through the 2 that we just did last week? Or
yeah, so we have a good relationship with a broker in town here named Stephen Ward. He's in Omaha here. So Colin and I are based out of Omaha. We invest in about a 300-mile radius of Omaha. So we have deals. We have units in Omaha, obviously a lot. This is where we're at. This is where we started. But we also down in Kansas City. We're in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. We're in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in Council Bluffs, Iowa, which is right next to Omaha. And we're actually about to be in Phoenix as well. But for the most part, we're just in a close radius of Omaha, and we build good relationships with brokers and people who are hungry. And Stephen Ward is a guy in town here who brought us a deal from a seller, and we kind of structured. One was a 26 unit, one was a 24 unit, so not extremely large purchases, but we made them work for both us as buyers and as well as the sellers. One of them we bought flat out, and it actually appraised at about $150,000 more than we even bought it for. There's a lot of room in the rents. There's room in the rubs, just kind of everything you'd really want. And we took that down with a group of investors that we own 70, 80 other units with, it's exactly what they want. Something we can turn around in about, stabilize in about 12 to 18 months. So that was just the 26 unit, the 24 unit.
And just to jump in real quick, Chris, most of the funds for the 26 unit were from a refinance that closed. I think it was that day that we collected the check on it. So it was 13 months after we acquired the 23 unit, did a full reposition and got all of our cash back. So those funds directly went into the next asset. So that's not taking those funds for fun money, but actually pushing them into the next project. We got better terms on the project that we refinanced. We went from a community bank. We actually did a swap. So now we're in a 30-year and we've got another year of interest only. We lowered our interest rates. So our cash flow is actually improving on that project. We're able to take out that full down payment and use that down payment for the 26 unit.
Yeah, I don't even know why. I guess that's probably the most important thing to bring up. So, I mean, that is our business plan, right? We don't flip these things and sell them. I know that shiny objects are fun. I wouldn't mind a Rolls Royce, but I'd rather get it from a large amount of cash flow always coming in every month. And the only way you're going to have that indefinite cash flow is if you actually buy and hold. And so our business plan and our partners, they have that same aligned interest. So with that 23 unit that we turned around, it wasn't 13 months. Like Colin said, we pulled out not only what we put into it, we put $190,000 down. We actually got back $215,000. A lot of that got wrapped up in the escrow. So when we had $194,000 at the refinance and at 11 a.m., at 1 p.m., we dropped that $194,000 off for the new purchase. We added a little bit more because it was a larger deal, but that's a great thing to point out, Colin. I mean, 3/4 of the down payment on that 26 unit was just recycling dough from a previous deal. So, and that's how we do everything. That 24 units also in town here. It's the same seller. We actually assumed a loan, but in that one, we were able to not only assume the loan from the seller on pretty decent terms. It's a 30-year, without spending the next 30 minutes explaining the loan, it's kind of fixed for 30 years. It's not so much that it'll refigure itself every 10 years, and we have 9 years left on that loan. But also we factored in $550,000 of seller carry. So we only had to bring a very small amount to the table for a $2.1 million property because we assumed a loan that already was taking place, and we got a $550,000 seller carry. And it's on a very popular street right here in Omaha. There's an iconic picture of Warren Buffett and Bill Gates sitting at an ice cream shop on a picnic bench. It's literally a block from that. So we took that down just a couple weeks ago. So that was really exciting for us.
And how did you structure it legally? Like, was it a JV partnership or syndication or?
Yeah, so that first one was a JV. It's just Colin and I and a couple other people. We own a 48 unit in town. We own that 23 unit that refinanced that very same day. And then the 26 unit is just a JV. So me, Colin, and two other people. The 24 unit that was in that iconic area, if you will, of Omaha, that is a syndication. It's the smallest syndication we've ever done, actually, which it's not good or bad. It's just the raise wasn't that large. And it was just a group of people who, some of them had invested with us before, and many people that they were friends with had heard about our success. And so they were excited to get in on that. And so we raised a small amount, really, $540,000 for that raise. And that was the 24 that we took down. And we're expecting a stabilization period. Our projections on a PPM stay 4 to 6 years. And that seems weird for a 24 unit, but that's just a very, very cautious, slow play right in the middle of a surge of COVID and a very weird election. So if you would have asked us about a year ago, how long will it take you? We would have guessed right around 13 months, because that's about how quickly we're turning these 23, 24 units that we pick up. Just to be safe, we're under promising. We hope to over deliver. If I said that right.
Yeah. So Chris, how does being an attorney help you with your syndication business?
It doesn't. No, I mean, look, I'm a divorce attorney, right? So I don't know. I get to joke about it. I don't like admitting it, but I know it's true. I think that I at least for a second, maybe until they hear me speak, I don't know, but at least for a second, I may capture a tad bit of respect. That's a terrible thing to say, but I mean, you're an attorney or you're a doctor, or just stupid little things that people in their head, they get stuck in their head that somehow it matters. You have a couple of letters at the end of your name or something. So perhaps when I was first starting and someone said, this guy's going to buy my house, who is he? What's his background? Is this deal going to fall through? Does he have the money to close? Perhaps they jump to a conclusion that I did have it because of my job. That would be my guess. No one's ever told me that. But look, we hire our own attorneys. It's funny because I've had partners or even people on syndication say, why don't you just do all the PPM stuff? First off, that's not my area of law. That's like asking an ear, nose, and throat doctor to do heart surgery on you. That makes no sense. They don't deal in that area. But we hire people who are the best at what they do. So if that's, there's no question we could lay flooring. I've laid flooring, but I'm not the best person at doing that. And so when it comes to dealing with the actual contracts, we're hiring real estate attorneys. When it comes to using the best SEC attorneys, we hire people like Kim Taylor to help us with our syndication deals. So how has being an attorney helped me? If anything, it's
I would say, Chris, you're incredibly detail oriented, and that's part of that is part of being an attorney. You speak to people all the time, and you have to be diplomatic as well as forceful among multiple different parties. So you're juggling that. And in real estate, it's no different. You have somebody that wants something, you have somebody that wants something else, and then you have kind of a mediator in the middle. And then there's you that kind of works with all three parties. And that's where I think, although you may not like the position now, but those are some of the skills in which you bring and which directly go into real estate.
Yeah, I guess that's a great example. I mean, look, so I also have a master's in negotiation, and maybe that's helped me as well during these contracts and stuff. I don't know. I think you're right, probably. I think that dealing with some of the stresses of being an attorney has helped me become more detail oriented. Surely the military did, and maybe all the schooling for law school did. And I think that, my ability to still read these contracts, my ability to break down the numbers and think through things in depth and perhaps, I'm certainly not taking away from what I've learned in law and how it's helped me as an individual become a better or more successful entrepreneur. No question. I think it's helped. I was just kind of flippantly joking when I said, look, I'm a divorce attorney, and that's pretty depressing. So I light up with happiness when I have to deal with stabilizing 80 units. It's pretty dang fun.
So for your current offerings, are you going 506B or 506C, and why?
Colin, I don't know if you want to explain that. I have no trouble doing it either.
So we're going 506B. We currently have a solid network out there, but I think, our total portfolio after we close on the current projects that we have. So we have our Sioux Falls project, which is 72 units, and then Heston, which is down in Tulsa, another 60 plus units. We're going to be about 20% of our portfolio is going to be syndications, 20 to 25%. The rest are JVs. So typically we're kind of timing them a year to 18 months to 24 months, depending on the project of what we're looking to reutilize those JV funds for to roll into the next project. The syndication projects, we have a lot of people that we know that that reach out to us that want to invest. They don't want to be active. They have, a sum of money, $50,000, $100,000 that's sitting around. They're like, okay, the stock market, I don't know what's happening here. I need some tax advantages. And that's really when Chris and I, because we've gone through 20 or 21 successful repositions of properties. And what I mean by that is that we have purchased a property, distressed. And when you say distressed, it just could mean that rents need to be boosted. The property could be in perfect condition, or it could be in horrible condition and mismanaged. Usually it's a combination of both, that we've purchased that property and within a year, 18 months, 24 months, been able to pull all of our cash back out, sometimes up to 200%, get better terms, and then we're redeploying that capital. But the truth is, there's only so many deals that we have, or so much money that we have. So when we come across additional deals, that's when a syndication makes sense as well, to bring in outside investors. And I don't want to say a syndication is more stabilized, but it's just a different approach. On our JV deals, we're not looking to cash flow day one. It may be 2 years, maybe 2.5 years until we get cash flow. Syndication, we're not promising returns, but we're providing preferred returns. So the first X amount of dollars goes to the limited partners. On the JV deals, we know we're going to kind of hit it a little bit harder, a little bit heavier, that there's not going to be cash flow right away, and we're going to deploy it all. to reposition the property quicker, but there's just not going to be that cash flow.
Yeah, I think we've just lucked out with the people that are able to jump on our JV deals, that they just have the patience that we do. So sure, you can get cash flow every quarter if you want, and that's fine. It's just going to take 3 to 5 years to turn this. If you're willing to have a little patience, like we did in that 23 unit just a couple weeks ago, we didn't take $1 for 13 months, but now we have all of our money back plus some, and now we're going to cash flow very well just 13 months after owning it. And I think just having that patience is the most important thing. Colin said something earlier about the whole not promising thing with syndications. It's just a different approach. We're just saying, look, let's take you down this road of syndications. But there's no such thing as a guarantee, but certainly any money that we make, we have this pref return, and it's easier to excite the people that you kind of know, you have a pre-existing relationship with, but they certainly are not really, really close with you in order to just not have any money for 13 months. So it's certainly easier just to pay them every quarter. And then what we do see and what we have seen is that after that first syndication stabilizes, or after something longer like that stabilizes and they get their money back, then they're ready to jump in full bore into something and really just trust the process.
Yeah. And we also invest as limited partners as well, because it's nice. I mean, because it becomes a passive form of income. We are still going to invest as limited partners. I think the end goal is to, invest a lot of money as a limited partner. Right now, we're just more active in the process, but I think having a combination of both really, really helps us.
Yeah, that's my my always shtick when I'm talking to investors is like, that's my retirement goal, is to be a career limited partner. And I was like, I just need to get up that chunk of cash first, and then I'll just deploy it to, like, here's all the best operators I know. Here's, whatever, $500,000 each, and then just sit back as an LP on the beach or whatever, on that porch. One thing you said about the JVs and the syndications was that I caught out of that was knowing which tool to deploy to take down the deal. And me and Duc talk about that a lot too. It's like a lot of people think syndications, it's almost like a pyramid, like where syndications, like that top, like the most sophisticated thing you can do in real estate is like a syndication. And I don't think about that at all. It's a tool that you can use one way to take down a deal, and it might be the right tool to use to take down that deal, and it might not be. Or a JV might be the right tool to take down this deal over here. And to the point of a recent deal we're looking at is a LIHTC, so low income housing. So that's a couple years left on that contract with the city or the commission. So we're thinking about that one. Like, that'll probably a good JV going with a small group of people who are sophisticated, know the plan, are okay with the first 2 or 3 years of low cash flow, but know that as soon as that contract expires, this place is going to appreciate 30%, essentially overnight. But you're dealing with a very certain kind of investor, like you said, that has the patience, that knows that model, and is willing to sit back for a few years and not get that mailbox money every month. But they're going to get that big payday at the end, where the other side of it, the syndication side of it, to your point as well, that a lot of them want that. They like that windfall at the end too, that cash, but they like that mailbox money, either quarterly or monthly payments as well. So definitely we think about it in our group of what's the right tool to take down this deal, and always thinking creatively on how to structure them. You said you got a $500,000 seller credit and things like that, like, which always like looking at ways to get that deal done creatively is always something that you should be doing as an investor. So quick question here. So one of your things is you run the largest meetup in Nebraska, right? Is it Omaha or the whole state?
There's not much outside of Omaha besides Lincoln.
Got it.
So I will stick with Omaha/Nebraska.
Got it. So largest meetup. So how has that meetup helped you grow your business or things like that? Just your branding, presence in general. So, the meetup is just part of the funnel. I'm sure you have a social media, you have a LinkedIn, you have other different types of, nodes in that funnel. How has like the meetup, helped you grow? Because $50 million, 700 units in 3 years is pretty astonishing. So some of that has to come from that funnel, right? Like,
yeah, no, it absolutely does. And first off, it's takeaway business and everything. I've just met some phenomenal people, and I've had just a great time doing it. It has been a blast. It is. You don't realize when you kind of start life, go through high school, go through college, get into your working careers, you don't realize that there's this other sector out there that thinks like you. And when you can put a group of people like that in the same room, when you're starting, just as you said, a funnel, basically we're funneling out the people that want to become entrepreneurs, want to live life, I guess, a little bit differently and take control of their time. And so that's one of the biggest benefits. We found investors. I found great friends. Liquid lending solutions. It's because of the meetup. It's all of us that put together. Multiple of our investors from the meetup, just learning about what we do. I actually never presented at the meetup and just till a week ago, me and Chris did through a Zoom call. So I could say it was a lot different before COVID, but we've still been able to stay on top of it with Zoom calls. Gosh, I don't know. We've made a ton of good contacts. Also, what a meetup does, and I encourage everybody to start a meetup, whether it's a Facebook meetup group, whether it's, doing Zoom calls, whether it's doing a podcast, because they all are basically, they're similar. They're very similar. You are being the thought leader, attracting attention, and you then have the ability to gather people much more intelligent than you to speak at these meetups, and then also garner the interest of your attendees. It allows for, and this was never the intention. The intention was really just to go and meet people, talk about real estate, and have a couple beers together. That was it. We started, I think, it was easy. It got a little bit more by the end, but I think it was like 8 people. And we did it at a fourplex, which we walked through. The last one that we had, there was, I would say, 130 people there. Ironically enough, it was about Airbnbs. This was in March. So our last meetup, but we were starting to gain like a lot of traction. But yeah, I don't know, kind of going full circle to the question, it's, we've met investors, met friends. It also sharpens your skills. If you're hosting a meetup, you need to be more presentable. You need to be on top of your A game. It forces you, whether you are the expert or not, but to push your limits and what you know. I mean, public speaking, and just speaking to individuals and coordinating things. It's just one more thing to sharpen the knife, I guess. But
yeah, absolutely. I was going to say, for the biggest things for us has definitely been keeping my energy levels high. Like once I go to a meetup, I'm like I'm fired up. I'm like, let's do deals. Like, just from, like you said, being in a room of like-minded individuals that are all trying to go the same place, and you just feed off each other's energies and wins and successes, and definitely fuels you to keep going. Because as you know, being an entrepreneur is very, very much a roller coaster. So the more wins that you can kind of feed off from other people and get some of their energy and boost you up, the better you're going to be. And also to the point of being on your A game, the accountability of it. So we present, Duc and I present every month at ours. And it's every month I owe the group some kind of presentation. So it holds me accountable to these groups that expect something. So I have to, what is going to be asset management this month? So I'm building a PowerPoint asset management, making sure I'm tuned up on all my things, and then present it. So absolutely being accountable to the group and keeping those energy levels high, which, as you know, Gino's big on that, keeping those energy levels high as we go through this. So just curious there, because meetups they're a lot of fun. People, there's so many second, third order effects or intangible benefits that you can't just be like, I got 4 investors that helped me close this deal. Like, it's not just that. Like, there's so many things you can't even put you can't even quantify. So yeah, if you haven't, for those listening, if you haven't created a thought leadership platform or are part of one, at least do one or the other. Join a group, or if there's none around you, start one. Even if it starts out with 4 or 5 people at a brew house down the street. People, if they enjoy it and you bring good content and you give more than you take, people are going to find you, and they're going to feed off that, and you're going to grow, and it's going to help you in so many ways.
Yeah, I will tell you, if you're looking for a contractor and you've started a meetup group, you post that out to your Facebook platform, or you ask somebody at the meetup group, 10 people are giving you the information of a contractor. Usually people are, beg, borrowing, stealing to find a good contractor to get information like that. If you start one of these thought platforms or assist in one of these thought platforms, as you said, there's just so many intangibles that can help you, and it helps others. I mean, there's been dozens and dozens of people. We put a post out like, how has this meetup helped? And everybody's like, I partnered with this person. I partnered with many other people. I mean, I found probably, 10 different, ancillary partnerships which have either partnered with Chris and I or myself and them just through the meetup group.
So Colin, you said project management. We already heard Chris's transferable skills from being a lawyer. So for yours, what of your skills or education, you have your master's degree, what of those have been transferable into real estate to help you be successful? And what were some that you thought were going to be that were just like, wow, that didn't help at all?
Yeah, no, good question. And I think it actually combines my previous job with my job previous to that. So I basically managed a grocery store before I did that. So very different retail, worked there for 6-7 years at a local grocery chain, then moved on to the luxury life of the 9 to 5. I think what I learned mostly is leadership and people skills and dealing with diverse groups. So managing a grocery store, you're dealing with, customers that are upset because there's a dented can of soup. Then you're also dealing with, depending on what area of town you're in, people that may make millions of dollars, drive Porsches, and that want the nicest steak. So you're interacting with all these people throughout the process. You're dealing with young people, you're dealing with old. When I moved into IT, I was dealing with people from all over the world. So dealing with people from different backgrounds, just different culture. And you're also dealing with people that are, easiest to say, just incredibly intelligent, very skilled at what they do. And being able to lead groups like that and finding a way that you can have individuals produce the best of what they can do and work together. I think that's what's helped me the most, because in real estate, we are working with very, very diverse groups from different backgrounds, different ages, property management, obviously, but, going from buying a $6 million property from somebody who's worth, probably 8 figures, who has a very high net worth, to, helping our residents that are maybe lower income, and being able to have all those conversations. That's what kind of the previous work experience really, really helped me with. Also to be a problem solver. That's what I've always had to do, is solve problems. Real estate is just nothing but, I don't want to say it's nothing but problems, but there are hiccups that happen every step of the way, that if you can find a way to resolve those, it will exponentially make you enjoy the process more, but also be better and more effective at it. And I think that's where Chris does an amazing job, because he's always questioning things. He's always questioning certain items to see how we can get better opportunities. Even if it's not going to turn out to be something better, we're still questioning those to see what's on the other side and weighing our results. But yeah, definitely working with other groups of people, and just because that's what real estate is.
Nice. Yeah. The entrepreneurship is always just who can solve problems most efficiently and bring the most value to market. Right. So definitely agree there. So we have, what was the first company? Was it Park Ave Capital? Was that the first company that started this partnership?
Yeah. I mean,
it was just Chris and Collin, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. The dynamic duo, Chris and Collin. Okay.
Yeah. That is our company, Park Ave Capital. So
Okay.
That's our JV syndication. That's our investment company. Colin has his Bricktown Management, which is a property management company. They manage over 450 units right here in Omaha. And then Liquid Lending Solutions is something we started just this year recently. And that's a hard money lending business. That's Colin and I and a couple other individuals. All the investments, basically everything we've been talking about here has been Park Ave Capital. But I mean,
Okay.
we'd be nowhere without Bricktown Management managing most of our units. And then this hard money lending business has been a very fun side gig, if you will.
Got it. So the question I'm leading up to, so a lot of multifamily investors, are always eyeing that vertical integration piece. Like, where's that tipping point, to use Malcolm Gladwell's, thing of where's that point of like, okay, here is the point where we're going to go vertically integrate it. And we're going to start bringing this in-house. We're going to start bringing a contracting team in-house. We're going to start bringing property management in-house. We're going to start bringing flooring and paint in-house, things like that. So what was that tipping point for you that decided, I guess maybe more of a Colin question, to create Bricktown? First question. Second question is, what efficiencies did you gain? And then also, what were the unexpected challenges came across that you weren't expecting by going vertical and creating your own property management company? Because usually the magic number is 1,000, right? That's when everybody's like, okay, at 1,000 units, you're pretty safe it makes, economic sense to do a vertically integrated for property management. You guys did it much sooner. So there was a lot of questions there. I forgot what they even were. Go.
I think I'll remember. And just first and foremost, and not to Chris's horn, but with a partnership, that's almost going vertically integrated. When we first started, we were overlapping in duties. We still do that a little bit, but we were overlapping in who did what. And we were just repeating each other over and over and over because we were hungry. We're calling the same broker. We're looking for the same deal. We're following up on the same things. That's evolved. So now that Chris handles a certain area, I handle a certain area. It's basically a Venn diagram where we have this bit of an overlap. Maybe that's investors. So as part of vertical integration, it's also partnerships. It's not just finding contractors, bringing them in-house. Vertical integration is, I guess, expanding on yourself to be with a partner and defining roles, or at least creating roles. As I said, at first, we didn't have roles. We just said, we're going to go take over the world. And we were both doing that and realized that one of us can take over part of the world. The other one can take over the other part of the world. One works a day, one works at night. So that's just something that's really important to realize before some people try to go start hiring employees and look, all right, I'm here, and now I'm going to go hire these construction crews. For me, I was basically Collin Schwartz, the landlord, and was managing 92 units, and every resident had my phone number. And I remember I was sitting at a restaurant one day, and I got there at 11. I didn't leave till 5, and I was on my phone constantly. And during that whole time, I'm missing calls. I had over 100 text messages that I hadn't responded to, many of which I had. And I think there was 90 unique phone calls that day, most of which had some precedent. And I was like, okay, I did the property management to make a bit of additional income. That got me out of the W-2 because the properties at first, they're cash flowing a little bit, but not a lot. As I said, from our plan is to reposition. So cash flow comes later. When I realized that, I was like, okay, I'm going to have to take a step back, start investing into the property management. So started hiring the areas where I thought I was worst at, which I didn't like, where somebody could add value. So I don't like bookkeeping. I don't like opening mail. I don't like sending bills. Hire that off. Leasing became very just time consuming. I'm running around. I'm waking up at 6 o'clock to go do a lease before I go do this. I'm doing showings at 8 o'clock at night. I'm doing them all day Sunday. It's like, okay, let's hire somebody for that. And it just started to grow from there, and then it's maintenance. We're outsourcing a lot of maintenance. Okay, let's hire a full-time individual for maintenance. All right, we're getting a little full there. Well, let's make that person the manager of the maintenance crew and then hire part-time individuals underneath them. One thing that I think has really helped me in, I guess, vertical integration is my core crew, my core team is I am telling them constantly the way I've been able to grow is outsource my lesser value jobs. So if I figure a job can be done for $15 an hour, $20 an hour, I want to find that person that can do that because I'm spending a lot of time doing that. I ask my employees, hey, if you guys are spending a lot of time doing something which is not your highest and best use of value, bring that up to me and let's look at hiring that out and find somebody else. Where we are, we're in a growth stage. So I understand there's going to be some months in property management, I may lose money. That's okay, because that's not the game, is to get a percent fee of the income. It's to build wealth through real estate and at some point have a large amount of passive income coming in. Now, to do that, you want to have the right people in the right seats. So yeah, I think that's
sounding like traction right now.
Yeah, I'm not quite there yet. I need to find a good integrator, but it's really just finding the people. So you want to find passionate people where they sit in the right seats and they're passionate about what they do and understand the vision. And, you also want to help them as well. So Chris and I have an employee. I have probably 7 employees at Bricktown Management. Well, 2 of them just purchased a deal with us. Why? Because that's incentivizing. We can't pay what Facebook pays an engineer. That's just not where our business is. But we want to help the people in our sphere build wealth through real estate. So if we can do those things, it becomes much more attractive for individuals to stay with us. And that helps the vertical integration. I agree, probably at 1,000 units, we'd be much more profitable. But really, like the property management, I see it as kind of my value add. Chris is constantly talking to investors, constantly talking to brokers. Like, I feel that my value add portion is where I am working, I am managing the employees, and we are flipping these units. We are being very effective in providing good customer service. You probably have like 3 more questions, but I can't.
Well, I got one more. I'm getting the music on me here from Duke. So last question, really quick, and one for each of you real quick. So what is your favorite systems that have improved your effectiveness and efficiency? Real quick.
Go ahead, Colin.
Having Chris as a partner. I'm the individual with a bunch of unread emails. He has no unread emails. So it's having Chris.
Got it. Chris, what do you got? Systems. Anything?
Yeah, I mean, having Colin. Hiring Nick Bruin was huge for us. One of the things I like using is Syndication Pro. I've name dropped them before, but I think they're a great syndication platform. Easy for us to keep track of things, update our investors. We're starting to use it now even for JVs. It's just a great way to keep track of all of your properties and how they're doing, and keep in touch with everybody with mass email and colorful pictures and stuff.
Nice. Syndication Pro. Got it.
Or Buildium. I use Buildium. So if you're looking for software.
Buildium and Syndication Pro. Good. Buildium's a property management software for
That's correct. Yep.
Those who don't know.
All right. Next up is our fire round. What is the best book that you recommend other than Rich Dad, Poor Dad?
I'm into the Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins right now.
I got a hilarious story about that in a second. Hold on.
Yeah. I mean, I think I view things that he says kind of like, Cardone or anybody else. I mean, not 1,000% of it is applicable to everybody, but it's super motivating. And if somebody like that can go through what he went through, then that's really motivating. So I've been listening to that a lot recently.
Yeah. So a quick story for Colin. So I was I run a lot. That's one of my stress relief things I do. And I was listening to on my headphones the David Goggins book, and I had pulled my LCL while I was running. So I'm limping down the road, and I just got David Goggins stop being a little, suck it up. It's all in your head. And I'm crying as I'm trying to get the last 2 miles. I'm 2 miles away from my house, trying to get down the road. So funny story there.
That's what he does for me too, man. I've been running a lot recently, which I haven't run that much since the military. And I started to get worn down or whatever. And then I'm listening to him go through the stuff he's going through. I'm like, I should probably tough it out for a little bit.
Yeah. Right. All right. Colin, what do you got?
Shoe Dog. Shoe Dog. So, I mean,
that's the Knight book, right?
Books. Yeah. Shoe Dog by Phil Knight. I think I've listened to that 3 or 4 times, but it is just absolutely inspiring. And it also really portrays a real good picture of what an entrepreneur is, because he's working the whole time. It's a decade or 15 years in. He could go bankrupt from a lawsuit. He's just he's becoming successful, but not like Nike is. And then we see him now, and he's a multi-billionaire, one of the richest people in the world. But nobody sees that 15 years of him getting on flights every other weekend, basically this close to bankruptcy.
Yep.
So yeah, Shoe Dog. Super
it's that famous, the quote of the iceberg of an entrepreneur. It's it took me, 10 years to be an overnight success. Because that's all anybody sees. They don't see those sleepless nights of, being up at 3 a.m. trying to solve a problem, sweating it out to get that deal closed. All right.
What is your superpower?
It just motivated, man. I mean, I want to be able to do what I want. So I can see the light at the end of the tunnel. So it's not really sexy superpower, but I understand those 10 years needed to be an overnight success are needed. And I know that it's just something I have to do. And I don't mind doing it. I always see the bigger picture. And I know Colin's the same way, but explaining that to family members and people who are like, gosh, you work all the time. It's just wait, just give me time. It's going to be worth it. So it's already worth it,
but we're not patient. So that is something neither Chris nor I are patient.
No, we're not.
So
no, we're
not. Patient enough. I think for me, it's, I really do my best, and it's, during a tired day, it doesn't work as well, but really understanding what the other individual needs and just kind of that relationship capital, I guess, of, as I said, working with diverse groups, there's different goals, and trying to understand their goals and empathize. It's hard when you have a lot of things being thrown at you, but I would say that's my superpower.
All right. And what is the biggest lesson you've learned over your career?
Get started yesterday. I read Rich Dad in 2008, and I was in law school, and I was getting my master's in negotiation, and I was in the ROTC. So I did not have a lot of time, but I also know that I should have started then. I can't imagine what would have happened if I would have started right at the crash. I think it actually would have been the best thing ever, and I'd be in a way different place now. So Number one
Well,
lesson.
I'm glad you're here with me, buddy.
I'm glad I'm here too. I'm just saying, get started yesterday. Everyone has something to offer. Just get started.
For me, what really helped is just reading. I know it sounds simple, but so many people don't read because they think they're not going to gain anything from it. Read and network. Network with people that are smarter than you or have accomplished things that you want to accomplish.
Right. So for the busy working professional working towards financial freedom, what advice do you have?
I'd say bring a value. Someone will say, well, I don't have a lot of money, so I can't get started. Well, you can call the owner of an apartment complex and you can try to see if you can find an apartment complex that's off market. You can volunteer your time. Maybe you can turn these units for extremely discounted price to get in on the GP or to get in with some shares of the JV or something. Everyone has something to offer. And so don't be closed-minded. What's that Tony Robbins quote? It's not a lack of resources. It's a lack of resourcefulness. Just know that you have something to offer and go do it.
Yeah, that's really good. I think understand your goals, but if your goal is to do something similar to like what Chris and I are doing, be obsessed. Understand you are going to give up a lot. You're going to give up time with your family, but you can see the other end. Like me and Chris can see the future. We can see 5 years from now and what our life is going to be. We could see this when we started. We're like, we are going to make these sacrifices because we understand that time is going to continue to go on regardless, whether we do something or we don't do something. But we can build ourselves up and we can see in 5 years from now that because of this work, because of being obsessed and caring about all these multiple things and just having this laser focus, that we will be there. So yeah, if you want to be really successful in this business, be obsessed.
All right. So as we wrap up, how can our audience reach out to you?
LinkedIn. We're both on LinkedIn. Chris Pomerleau, Collin Schwartz. Park Ave Capital is on LinkedIn. Park Ave Capital is on Facebook, Instagram. Our website's parkaveinvesting.com. So that's parkaveinvesting.com. We're on YouTube. We have a channel, Cash Flow with Chris and Collin. And we also have a free special report at partneringchecklist.com. Just a list of different things to look at when you're partnering with somebody, whether it's a syndication or whether it's a JV or whether it's a lawn mowing service or whether it's somebody to babysit your kids. Just kind of a list of things to look at when it comes to the most important things to think about in partnering.
All right.
Chris
Awesome.
hit on them all. Perfect.
Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Yeah. Thanks for having us. It was fun.
All right, thanks.
Thanks, fellas.
Hey, Duc, that was an awesome show with Colin and Chris. Those guys are powerhouse. We talked about, what was it, 700 units or something like that in 3 years. Like that's huge. Like I thought I was doing good at like 100 units in 3 years. And they're operating on a whole different level, and it really shows you to the point in the show of like always being hungry, and then finding partners that just push you to grow, hold yourself accountable, and push you to perform at your highest levels, so you can just have these synergistic effects and just go up that curve of exponential growth. Like those guys are the absolute epitome of that, with the performance of their 3 companies right now that they're vertically integrated, and also some great points on when to go vertically integrated. What are some of the questions you ask internally of, is now the right time? You can hear Colin's point of that was his stepping off point to leaving his W-2, was to create that property management company to give himself the freedom to go real estate full time, but then also get some of those efficiencies and economies of scale with taking their capital company to vertical integration as well. Also huge points on the intangible benefits of creating meetups, right? They have the biggest meetup in Nebraska, which is, awesome. But then also it's not, a lot of people think, oh, meetup is just part of the funnel, like what I try to get them to get into, but it's like, it's not just the funnel of like getting investors. There's so many intangible benefits, like just having, to my point, my favorite part is the energy that we feed off each other when we go 20, 30 like-minded individuals, all talking real estate. I leave there super energized. Like I want to pick up the phone right now and call 50 brokers to find the next deal. So the intangible benefits of that, getting your name out there, having the resources around you to have like a referral base. You use the example of whenever you needed a good contractor, hit that meetup base you have, that network, and you'll have 20 pre-vetted referrals because everybody wants to have that go-giver mentality and give more to the group than they take away. And it's something that's really awesome that happens in these groups. So if you don't have one in your area, start one. Start a thought leadership platform. If there's one already there, go there and try to add as much value as possible. You have something to bring to the table. Like Chris was saying in the podcast, figure out what it is your strengths are, what your talents are, and give them away for free at the meetups and at those thought leadership platforms. And in some way, it'll be reciprocated back to you tenfold. So those are the biggest ones that I took away from that. Some great book recommendations like Shoe Dog and things like that. So it's a great book as well. There's lots of great stuff in this one. So yeah.
And if you're interested in learning more about passive investing, go to tricityequity.com to download our free guide. To connect with like-minded investors, join our Facebook group, Honolulu Multifamily and more. If you found value in this podcast, please subscribe and give us a review on Apple Podcasts or Spotify. If you know anyone who might resonate with today's podcast, please share the episode with them. See you next time.